The new Superman movie is out. It's making a decent amount of money and getting pretty good reviews. But did James Gunn make a critical error by destroying Superman lore? Hello and welcome back to another episode of Strong Collectors Comics. I'm your host Jordan, joined today as ever by my plucky co-host Dakota. And we're going to be talking about the new Superman movie. Now, we've both seen it, enjoyed it, liked it, thought it was doing a lot of cool new things. Everybody out there might not agree, but there is one thing that... So this is going to be spoilers for the new Superman movie, of course. If you haven't seen it, stop watching this, go watch it, and please come back, and we'll be here waiting for you. But one thing that was introduced in this new Superman movie is the idea of the reason Superman was sent to Earth. Now, if you've seen the movie, you know he's got the message from Jor-El from Krypton. He's only got part of it, and it's the typical, we love you, you know, you're going to go to this new planet, yada, yada, yada. And the big plot point is Lex Luthor getting into the Fortress of Solitude and decoding the rest of the message and releasing it, which reveals Superman was sent not just to help people, but to conquer, to take over the planet, have as many little super babies as he can, and all that good stuff. So there has been, I've seen some backlash from people, and that is a significant change from most traditional Superman lore, where you do have the kind of benevolent Kryptonians. They send their son to Earth to do good. This Superman has to grapple with maybe he was sent not to do good. So all that taken at face value, Dakota, with those potential changes, what does that bring up for you as you think about Superman in this movie and what that means for the greater story?
For me, I was surprised by it. Like, were you surprised by it when you saw it in the movie?
Yeah, I didn't think
Okay.
that was the direction they were going to go.
Yeah.
You know?
See, I was shocked by it. My wife was not shocked at all. She was like, "Oh yeah, I knew what the second half of that message was going to be." She's like, "I watched Smallville." I was like, "Well,
Right.
good." I didn't watch Smallville like she did, so she had more Superman lore in this department than I did, so that was impressive.
Yeah.
I thought when it first came up, I was like, "This feels a little too invincible to me," where it's like this is very much like Omni-Man going to Earth to create more Viltrumites for their cause. But I think the general person going to watch the Superman movie, nerds sure have probably seen Invincible. I don't know that the casual person out there is watching as much Invincible as I would like them to be. So they probably are going to think that Invincible's ripping off Superman. I think Superman's ripping off Invincible. I think it's just kind of, it makes sense that that would be, you know, some sort of superior alien race is trying to recreate their population if their planet gets blown up. I thought they did a good job of giving Superman more of like a challenge in that department versus just always having to be like, oh, we've got to bring in some extremely superpowered character for him to like punch and fight. Now Superman's actually grappling with like, who am I, in a way that's not really an origin story, because that's what I liked about the movie was it's like we were jumping into Superman being Superman. I don't need to watch him land on the planet, grow up with Ma and Pa
Find his
Kent.
costume.
Exactly. Leave all that.
We get it.
So we didn't have that like internal struggle of like, who am I? Oh, I'm
Right.
Superman. I'm going to go be a hero. We now have this, I'm a hero, but kind of my origin story that I thought I had is not what I thought it was. So now how does that define me going forward?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a good point with the Invincible comparison. And I think that's another good point, too, where, yeah, it's like we might be familiar with that, but if you can take that and incorporate it in a bigger sense, I think that's pretty cool. And I do like for me, the conflict that brings up, where the movie was much more than about... Because it is, when you think about it, it's like, my parents on Krypton love me, my parents here on Earth love me, my loving parents sent me here, I'm going to be a hero. Like, I think that does introduce a lot more, okay, well, I was intended maybe for this bad thing, but I'm going to choose to do good, which I think they worked in pretty well to the theme of the story, and I think that was the idea of the movie, right, is he's more like, I'm choosing my humanity, or my humanity is what makes me Superman, basically. And I thought that was cool. So, yeah, even to the point of, like, I know there have been depictions of Jor-El as like less than favorable. I do think Smallville got some mileage out of like, maybe he's not this benevolent, all-loving guy that, you know, just wants to do good, which I don't really mind them tweaking that. And I think, I mean, my first thought as I was watching it was like, is this, Lex Luthor adjusted the message? Because everyone does just kind of accept it, which I realize now was, I think, intentional to be like, well, this is the message and we accept it and we move on, not like, did he tamper it? Is it that? Because I've seen people say maybe it's that, maybe it's, Brainiac did something to it. That might be in that cartoon Superman show, which I guess you could do. Personally, I wouldn't be upset if they just say that's what it was and you move on. And I think it could be a little more intentional to get away from the Krypton stuff. Just because, you had Zod in the old Superman movies, you had Zod in Man of Steel was a pretty big deal. Maybe you could see Zod eventually in the newer Superman stuff, but personally I'm okay not seeing Zod for a while. I don't think we need to do a lot of Krypton things. I mean, I would much rather, and I think James Gunn I would see doing more of the Superman things we haven't seen. Like your Parasite or a Brainiac, Metallo, even like a Toyman, things like that that are kind of more out there, but they're a little more Earth-based, where we don't need to bring in Zod. So I would be okay with that pivot, I think.
I will say anytime Zod has ever shown up, whether it's in cartoons or live action, I've never been like, oh, yes, cool character, here we go, Zod time. I'm like, all right, we're going to get through this Zod stuff, and then hopefully something else cool happens after this. Because Zod, to me, I think it's a good idea for a character, and it's got its place. It's never been my favorite, and I think Superman has a good enough rogues gallery that I can enjoy other characters, and it doesn't have to be Zod.
Yeah, and I'm hoping they spend more time with those, because there's so many. I mean, clearly we saw in the movie this idea of pulling in characters that are lesser known that you could give more of the spotlight to, which I would be super excited about, and I think really to focus more on the Earth stuff, I think would be pretty cool. Do you think there's any chance to quote? Because I think we had a debate about this after the movie where I did make that point of like, are you supposed to just accept 100% this version is like he was sent there to conquer? Is there supposed to be some debate about that? Where do you land with that?
I think my heart wants me to say like, oh no, Superman's parents would never tell him to go do this type of stuff. But I think when you do think about it in terms of like setting up a better story, I think it does make sense. I think it's almost like I almost question more how quickly everyone accepted that the message was real. Like it just seems like Lex Luthor was like, oh yeah, here's this message, and everybody was like, oh, that's the message. And I think that there should be more skepticism of like then do we automatically now hate Superman? Because even if this is true, it seemed like the script flipped pretty quick on him, and like now public sentiment is we hate Superman, even though he spent the last 3 years saving everybody from everything going on. I don't know. I think that to me was a little bit like quick, but I think, I also don't need to spend 2 hours like debating whether this clip is real or not. Just be like, it's real. And like, okay, I guess everybody says it's real, so it is.
We got to move on. Yeah,
right.
I do remember feeling that was a little jarring, but I don't know. I mean, maybe that's the point of like the public perception thing. I mean, he obviously was playing with the like internet culture. I did love the internet troll monkeys were brilliant. I think we have had a few of those commenting on some of our past videos. So,
anything with Ironheart in the title, those monkeys are going to work.
Yeah, I love that. I thought that was funny. But yeah, so I mean, overall, I think the movie had so much it was trying to do that, like, to say one less thing to think about is something that we've done before a whole lot. The origin stuff, the Krypton stuff doesn't bother me at all.
Yeah.
I think that's like, I'm totally cool with that, and I do think it gives Superman a little bit more of an interesting twist. I don't know exactly what that will mean for the future moving forward, but I am excited to see where they go with it. Those are some of our thoughts on the new Superman and the new twist in his origin. You let us know in the comments, folks. What do you think? Do you like this change? Do you think it destroys Superman forever and we should boycott everything else that comes? Please be liking, sharing, and subscribing. And until next time, as always, stay strong.